day for everybody, and it's not a day that you wake up and go, I'm so excited I'm going to be in a congressional hearing today, okay? No one loves this day, but thanks for walking through this. All of you have been through a long process on this. Mr. Staub, you've been through this multiple times, so you're the experienced guy in this. I want to be able to press on a couple of issues. Postmaster General DeJoy was in a House oversight hearing recently, and he was talking about the Regulatory Commission. I'm sure you've seen some of the quotes on it. There seems to be a battle back and forth between the Postmaster and between the Regulatory Commission. He made this statement. He said, we're very, very committed to getting the Postal Service back on track and moving forward. That's why interference from the Postal Regulatory Commission is not helpful. It is going to put this whole plan in jeopardy, speaking about the Delivering for America's plan. So perspective-wise for you, I'm not saying that you're putting the whole plan in jeopardy. Where do you disagree with the Delivering for America, that plan? Where are the areas where we can work together? Because with the Postal Service in such great debt right now and accelerating on it, we've got to have Postmaster General and all that's going on in the Postal Regulatory Commission actually pull in the wagon the same direction on it at some point. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, Senator, first of all, nothing that the commission has done by opening up that public inquiry has done absolutely anything to stop, alter, change the Delivery for America plan. What the commission was deeply concerned about, recognizing we're not the operator, right, that is the responsibility of the Postal Service, is to provide transparency for the American public. The Postal Service is moving out, consolidating service centers, opening up new ones. There's huge impacts on cost, revenue, employees, and frankly, customers in terms of their delivery. So all we're simply doing is opening up an opportunity for us to get more information on this operational plan. In terms of the commission and our role, you know, I'd be more concerned if we had an operator who says we're the best thing since sliced bread, because I think then we're not doing our job. There's a natural tension between the regulator and the operator, but I can assure you the commission is not interested in getting on the workroom floor being the operator, but we have a statutory responsibility to provide transparency and accountability.
And we do need both pulling well on it, because there's obviously major issues. You know this full well because you're tracking these issues. Third quarter this year, Postal Service had a $1.7 billion loss. We're headed towards an $8 billion loss for the entire year. Perspective-wise, why are we having losses like this? How does this get better?
Very disconcerting. The Postal Service had announced in that Delivery for America plan previously that they were going to break even this year. And to date, they've lost $5.8 billion. They could be on track to lose billions more. Why? I think there's a variety of factors going on. Certainly inflation is some of it. And it's not quite clear what else is driving it. That's part of our role, is to shine some spotlight and try to get to some root causes. But very disconcerting in light of the fact, particularly, that the Congress enacted legislation a little over a year ago to provide $57 billion of relief.
So Postal Service does have some unique vulnerabilities on inflation that I think a lot of people don't know. So inflation, you go back to last year when it's so high, and if you look over just the last 3 years, inflation in the United States has gone up about 16.5% just in the last 3 years. It's my understanding from the labor contracts that at the end of the year in December, there's a look back to say if the increase in pay didn't equal inflation, then there's a bonus that's given at the end of the year. So literally the Postal Service is very exposed to inflation, that if inflation goes up, automatically every single labor cost goes up dramatically. And you've had a 16% increase in inflation over the last 3 years. That's a pretty big hit on it. As you mentioned before as well, you've had 2 rate increases in the last year, but we've also got a packaging conversation that's happening right now, because packaging was supposed to be the element that was going to actually save the Postal Service, but that's not actually balancing out at this point. So the running joke is Postal Service used to be letter carriers that also handled some packages. Now their packaging services also carry some letters on it. So what's going to happen to make the packaging side of things better and make that actually more profitable?
That's really part and parcel of the Delivery for America plan. The Postal Service is really looking to transform its network in a major way to, as you said, in a very overgeneralized description, become more efficient at the package and have letters on the side, shall we say. But there's huge cost to invest in that change. And there's storm clouds there, as you indicated, because as opposed to that continuing increase we're seeing in the last several years on competitive product revenue and volume, there's some decreases going on there, let alone the unrelenting loss of first-class mail, which is their bread and butter. So very concerning and troubling storm clouds, shall we say, particularly after the immense amount of balance sheet relief.
We'll continue to be able to follow up on this. For the judges, thank you for stepping in the service again. I apologize, I don't have a lot of time to be able to go through stuff. Mr. Cho, I do want to be able to ask one quick question, though, just as a follow-up on some things. By the way, beautiful introduction of all your family. There was in 2017, you wrote a piece that I'd want to be able to ask you and get some additional clarity on. You said prosecutors are one of the few attorney positions in which cases initiation, dismissal, or settlement are determined by the lawyer and not by the client. For me, it's liberating and fulfilling to have my idea of justice as the sole consideration when making those decisions. Now, I understand as a prosecutor making that statement, but if I'm in front of you in a case and you're the judge, and I know you've written my idea of justice as the sole determinant of that, that makes me nervous on it. So help me understand that as a judge.
Yes, Senator. What I'd like to say with regards to that statement, when I say the sole determiner of justice, I mean within the facts and the law. So when you're determining justice, you have to determine the facts, see what the law is, and attribute those facts to the law. And your interpretation of that would be determining what justice is in that case. You do not ignore the facts, you do not ignore the law, you apply the facts to the law.
Okay. Yeah, that's essential. It's a baseline of the American Republic, is to be able to have the opportunity for every person to be equal under the law. And no one comes to any court at any time and any level, and it's based on the preferences of that court that particular day. But whether you're in Seattle, Oklahoma City, or Washington, D.C., you know the law is going to be applied equally to every single American citizen on that. So that will be exceptionally important. It's one of the key standards that I look for in every judge, to be able to say they know their responsibility. I can't be a judge. I'm a legislator. I'm not asking the president to write law. That's not his responsibility. It's to be able to execute the law, and for every judge to be able to carry out that what the law says on it be essential. So thank you.